Let's try that again. Hello, Jacquie Edwards here. Welcome to our video today. Today I'm going to be talking about how to find your first rent-to-rent deal. So we're going to talk about a couple of different strategies that will definitely help you get viewings and find that deal. But first I also want to talk about kind of mindset and taking action, because I see so many people spend loads and loads and loads of time, learning the strategy and learning the methodology and, researching properties and looking at houses and floor plans and just thinking and thinking and thinking and not actually getting out and doing. So actually taking that step and doing the viewings is honestly the only way you're going to get your first rent-to-rent deal, because if you're not doing viewings, you're never going to get a deal. And you've got to do lots of viewings, because rent-to-rent doesn't work for every owner. So another problem I see is people will find one property and they'll be like, this is the perfect property, I know it will work, but how do I get over all the landlord's objections? And sometimes you just can't. So sometimes that landlord is never going to be interested in rent-to-rent. He's not going to have a big enough problem. He's just not going to want to. And if you spend all your time focused on just that one property, trying to convince him to work with you, then you're going to miss all the other opportunities out there. So yes, you can continue to talk to that person, put them in your follow-up folder, try to work with them, but you need to move on and just keep doing lots and lots of viewings. You need to have a big number. So how do you find those properties to do those viewings to get your first rent-to-rent deal? There are a couple of great strategies. Now, if you are looking to do HMOs, the number one strategy that I would recommend for you is to get the list of licensed HMOs from your local council and send them letters. Now, this strategy is far and away the best strategy that I've found to get my properties, and I've seen numerous of my students make success with this strategy. And I know it's the most taught strategy out there, and everybody's like, oh, but everybody else is already sending letters, it's never gonna work. Everybody else is sending letters because it does work. And if everybody else is sending letters and you're not, then it's really not going to work for you, because they've got all those other options to choose from. So if you're not sending letters, then you're not even on their list of people to call. So get the list of licensed HMOs and send them letters. If you need more information on how to do this, grab one of my books from Amazon. There's loads more details in there. So that's if you're doing HMOs. Now, if you're not doing HMOs, or, so if you're doing service accommodation, or if you're doing HMOs, going to agents is another great way of getting your first rent-to-rent deal. It does take a little bit longer to build up that relationship with an agent, because they need to get to know and trust you, that you're actually credible and that you're actually going to be able to follow through, because they don't want to recommend you to their landlord if you're just going to be flaky and pull out of it. So they need to have that relationship with you first before they're ever going to tell a landlord, yeah, I think you should go with these guys. So it does take that little bit of extra time, but once you've built that relationship and once you've proven that you can do it, they basically act as a sourcer for you. So they'll just source you deals that they think will work, because it's easy for them, it's easy for you, it's easy for the landlord, everybody's happy. Now, again, all you need to do is go on Rightmove. And this is what I'd suggest in the beginning, and just look at properties that are pretty close to what you need. Again, don't spend all your time looking at floor plans and finding the very perfect deal just based on what it says on Rightmove. If you're doing serviced accommodation and you want to focus on 1 and 2 bedroom flats, just find 1 and 2 bedroom flats approximately in your price range and book a load of viewings. Don't overthink this. You don't have to tell them everything you're going to do when you're scheduling the viewings. So what I would recommend, just call and schedule the viewing. Usually it's just a receptionist that you're talking to on the phone. They don't care about all your reasons. You're just going to confuse them. If they do ask, because often they'll ask who's going to be living in this property, you can just say, I'm working on behalf of my company. We're looking to do a company let. Just keep it as simple as that. Now, yes, you aren't doing exactly a company let, so it's not the perfect truth, but that person on the other end of the line as the receptionist doesn't really care. She just needs something that she can put into her system so that she can schedule your viewing, basically. And then once you get to the viewing, then you can go into more detail on what exactly you're going to do. Again, once you're at that viewing, though, you need to kind of be careful. So are you with a decision maker when you're doing the viewing, or are you with the most junior letting agent there is? Because again, if you spend an hour explaining to the junior letting agent, here's what I'm going to do, and he thinks it's great and he's on board, but then he explains it to his manager 2 days later and the manager's like, no, absolutely not, we can't do this, then you've wasted everybody's time. Whereas what I like to do, if I don't think it's a a decision maker when I'm doing the viewing is at the end of the viewing, I'll say, this is great. I'm really interested in this property. We work slightly differently. Is it possible for you to set up a meeting with all of us and your manager so that we can talk through how we can work together on this and future properties? So just saying something like that should be able to get you a meeting to the next level with somebody that's actually a decision maker. And then that's your time to spend and go into loads of detail on how you want to work and how you're able to help. So, again, HMO letters, great if you're doing HMOs. If you're not doing HMOs, or if you are doing HMOs, getting to the agents and starting to build that relationship, starting with just doing a lot of viewings and working from there. So once they can see that you're serious, you know what you're talking about, you can start to really build inroads there. A couple of other quick strategies. I recommend looking at newspaper ads. Now this can be kind of pricey, so it'll depend on your budget. So having a newspaper ad, something like "Attention landlords, we can guarantee your rent, give us a call," something as simple as that. Postcards in shop windows. Again, it's little things that you don't really think they're going to work, and you think you need to do something way more detailed and way fancier, but this kind of advertising works. That's why people, and again, you're usually going kind of peer to peer when you're doing this. So that's why people still put notices in shop windows. Again, it might cost maybe £1 a week or something. Have a little flyer, you pin it up in shop windows. Some places, your local kind of Sainsbury's and stuff, often they don't want businesses advertising there, but you can put it up until they take it down. The co-ops, grocery stores, they'll have like a little pin board, put a little notice on there. Again, "Attention landlords, we can guarantee your rent, give us a call." So it's just thinking through these kind of simple things of where do just your day-to-day people go to advertise? Because when I'm talking newspaper ads, I'm talking about advertising in the classified section, not taking out like a big full page ad somewhere. So it's just thinking, where is the everyday Joe looking for stuff? So they're looking in the classified ads. They're looking at their local shop and they're looking at those postcards. You can do some news flyers. Sorry, total brain fart there, lost the word, but some leafleting, there we go. So you can do some leafleting in your local area, things like that. So there's loads of different ideas. Again, check my books, they go into more details. Anna said, which one of your books focuses more on starting a rent-to-rent business, setting up, finding landlords, examples of letters and contracts? Great question. So it's the book with the yellow cover. So the Rent-to-Rent Getting Started Guide is the book that basically is a checklist of here's exactly what you need to do to get started. And you also get free downloads. So there'll be a web link in there that will give you free downloads for letters, for templates, for newspaper ads, for everything that we basically just talked about. It's all spelled out in there. My other book, the one with the green cover, the Rent to Rent Your Questions Answered, there's also a big section in there about advertising. So newspapers and the stuff that we've just covered in this video, that's all in there. So they're a great combination as the two books. If you're just going for one, get the one with the yellow cover, the Rent to Rent Getting Started Guide, I've just basically made that a checklist of this is exactly what you need to do. And just go and do it and you're ready to go. But again, like we talked about the very first couple of seconds, it's all about taking action. So you can spend all this time, learning and thinking and doing, but then it's about the doing. So you need to get out there, you need to schedule those viewings, you need to talk to those landlords, and you just need to do as many viewings as possible. So whatever way you can do lots of viewings, that's what you want to be doing. So Val said, does rent-to-rent work here in the US East Coast? It very, very well could. So while I'm American, I am here in the UK, and this is where I've been for the last kind of 12 years. So it's worth checking it out. I would think it will definitely work. I can't give you all the exact legals on what kind of contracts you would need, but especially something with serviced accommodation, just taking a flat and putting it up on Airbnb. There's, generally demand everywhere for this. So it'll just be kind of checking the legalities in your area on kind of landlord-tenant laws and things like that. But I definitely think it could work. Where I'm from in the US, HMOs are not really a thing. People don't really share houses, but I am from the middle of nowhere. Whereas I think in larger cities, the HMO or the house of multiple occupations, basically shared house concept, could probably work a lot better. So it's definitely worth checking it out. I've been getting loads of queries from people kind of in the US and Canada lately. So I can't give you loads of kind of legal advice on it, but I definitely think it would work if you just look into it a little bit more. It's a great strategy to look at. All right, that's it for me today. I've got a super busy day, so I'm a bit of a mess because I've just come back from our land. So we have, for those of you that have been following me for a while, we've just bought 27 acres of land out in the countryside that we're starting our farm. So our planning permission is just this close. They've just asked for another 2-week delay because they haven't had time to write the report yet. So I was just meeting the guy that's going to be doing our gravel drive and stuff. So it's super exciting. So, oh, Val's in Atlanta. Yeah. So I'd say if you're looking at doing the kind of more service accommodation, so kind of renting out stuff on Airbnb, especially in Atlanta as a big city, I would say you'd get lots of, tourism and lots of business travelers. Adriana said, do you think there's a lot of competition in central London and south London? There's a lot of competition everywhere, honestly. You're always going to have competition, so don't worry too much about your competition. How to know if they should be my gold mine area or should I look outside of London? I always recommend you start as close as possible to where you are. With your competition, all you need to do is make sure you're kind of a step ahead of your competition. So do your research on what is your competition offering? And this is, if you're thinking, oh, am I going to be able to find enough tenants? Look and see what the competition for tenants is going to be. What are the house standards like? And then you'll just need to do yours a little bit better. And the same with, you're competing against loads of other rent-to-renters, letting agents, people, other investors that just want to buy properties. So don't worry too much about the competition. Rent to rent and all property it's a people business. So you want to make sure that you're building that relationship with the landlord or with the agent. And that's what it's really going to come down to at the end of the day, because everybody's going to be able to make pretty much the same offer. It's your kind of relationship building skills. So don't worry too much about the competition. Worry about, is this an area that I can get tenants easily for the rents that I need to get them for, and, at the standard and cost that I can afford to do it at, and then just kind of slowly branch out until you find that area that you can. So, awesome. I realized I talked super fast through this video because I think, yeah, I'm a bit frazzled because I just came in from looking at all of the fun farm stuff. So that's it for me. Again, if you want more information, check out my books. There's loads and loads of detail in there. And again, free downloads as well that will help you. So thank you so much for joining me. If you've liked this video, feel free to share it with your friends. Make sure you follow me here on YouTube and Facebook. And I will be back again with more information next week. Thank you so much.